Alright. Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Siggity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And, yeah, so I got back from visiting family in Cali, and the day that I touched down was also the day we had locals. I really had wanted to test this list at locals. It's been doing really well playtesting with friends, but just wanted to see how it would do. This is something that I just made for fun because I just really enjoy the Ancient Warrior archetype, and I wanted to try something different that wasn't Tri-Brigade, and this list has a lot of cool synergies. A lot of things play so well. The functionality and the cohesiveness between the two engines is like peanut butter and jelly. Like, it works so perfectly. It's actually amazing how these engines complement each other and also allow you to push through certain choke points that each engine would run into. So they, like I said, they complement each other very well. This is Ancient Warrior ELDLICH. I took it to locals today. I went X-1, but actually got 4th place. There was actually 3 other people, I think, that all were X-1. And so there's like quite a few like tiebreakers and stuff. I ended up being 4th place today. I played against Drytrons. I played against PK Fire. I played against Cyber Dragons. And I played against Tri-Brigades with the Rescue Cat engine. My loss was actually to PK Fire. I ain't gonna lie, I actually drew game 1. I drew 2 Nibiru's, an Ash, 3 Visits, and a Talents. So I ashed him, he talents me. He took my whole hand wasn't playable, but he took the talents out, left me with 2 Nibiru's and 3 Visits. I lost that game. Game 2, I opened into a Floodgate plus Golden Lord, which was left in hand. I set talents as a bluff. I had Conquistador, Sanguine, Golden Lord, and a bluff talents and a Floodgate. He lightning stormed me for 4, leaving me with just a Golden Lord, and I actually died. So yeah, you guys, it was very unfortunate. Other than that, great rounds. My grindiest match was actually against Drytrons today. It was a lot of back and forth. We actually went all the way to game 3. It was dang near a 40-minute match. I mean, yeah, I think actually it was the full 40 minutes. It was just a really, really crazy match. I used a lot of my ELDLICH cards against him. I just sequenced my plays correctly. I was very patient. I made the correct reads, and yeah, like I said, I just really used my interruptions the most effective that I could, because I knew like his deck just had a higher ceiling than mine. So I definitely felt that it was necessary to be patient playing against him. It was just fun all around. You know, I really enjoyed it. Great experience. The blowouts I had today was 2-0 Tri-Brigades, 2-0 Cyber Dragons. Struggled, but still beat Drytrons. That's just a really bad matchup for me. If I don't draw like a specific hand, it's really hard if they go first. Obviously, there's nothing I can do. If I go first and my hand's not good enough, they can push through my interruptions. That deck's very powerful. But yeah, you guys, so I'm going to get into the list. I'll explain a little bit more of the synergies. The deck is really fun. I have my deck organized, so my starters are going to be 3 Extravagance. A lot of the cards I'm using I borrow. Almost a lot of these cards that you guys see in my profile are not mine. I actually borrow them from a close friend of mine. But we have 3 Extravs. This card just makes a lot of sense. So testing with this list, I was like, dude, I cannot afford to play Desires. I definitely, between me and him, we don't have any Prosperities. So I knew that wasn't an option, and I was like, I needed a form of draw power, something that would mesh the 2 engines together. Like, if I drew a part of one engine, I would like to see both of them, because ideally what I wanted to open was Tinky or Sun Mu plus Curse Eldlin. It's actually an amazing combo. I'll get a little bit more into that towards the end of the video. But Extrav just made a lot of sense. This deck can play with this main deck extremely well. It can get up to 4 interruptions without using its extra deck at all, which is amazing. So I feel like Extrav was just perfect. For more starters, I also played 3 Tinkies. Is everything? Yeah, everything's solid. I played 3 Tinkies. Tinky is a 1-card combo by itself. It can be so diverse with what you do with it. Sunmu is actually a crazy card. Like, this deck is actually very powerful. I like Ancient Warriors a lot. I'm going to continue to experiment with them. Sun Mu is single-handedly the most powerful starter in the deck. He doesn't have the longevity that the ELDLICH cards have. That's why I like the ELDLICH engine, because it carries you over into your mid to late game. The way to grind with Ancient Warriors is to cut some of your interruptions that you would search and turn them into follow-ups. So, for example, your Sun Mu would make a double Dragon Lords. That double Dragon Lords would search a Sun Mu for your next turn, as opposed to getting another interruption like a negate online or a pop off of your rebellious Lu Feng. Sorry, I have trouble pronouncing their names sometimes. So like these are ideally like the best starters that you want to see in your opening hand. Another really powerful starter is actually 3 Visits. This card is very, very crazy. This card is insane. What I like about it too, if you guys have seen some of my duels, I have 2 duels on the channel testing this list, is I have actually unbricked my hands in the sense where like I had a Ingenious that I hard drew, and then I had a Fearsome Jingwan. And what I ended up doing was I actually used my Eldritch cards. I used my Golden Lord to send the 3 Visits for cost to actually use it as an extender to push through interruptions going second. And it gave me so much gas. Like, it was crazy. Like, this card itself is super duper powerful. It lets you push through Ash like crazy. It even lets you push through Gamma, believe it or not. It's really, really strong. But then when you combine it with Golden Lord being able to send it for cost, it allows you to extend in sticky situations. I really like this card. It's very, very powerful. Something else that's really cool with it is you can use it to interact on your opponent's turn when you're using cards like Double Dragon Lords and cards like Forbidden Droplets, etc. Even Ingenious, sending this for cost, triggering its effect to summon another Ancient Warrior. That Ancient Warrior could be something like Sun Mu, and when you activate your Rebellious Lu Feng, you will then trigger Sun Mu to actually bounce one of your opponent's monsters. So you can get a lot of interruptions with this deck. It's very hard to play through. I think this deck is very powerful. It's not like unfair, but its engine is just so good. And you get so much for so little, and your engines can carry you over into your mid to late game. So it has a really strong early game and a really strong mid and late game. And it closes games out really fast because it has just so much pressure that I can put onto the board. I think it's a great deck. I also played 3 copies of Cursed. Cursed plus Sun Mu actually gets you a pop-off Conquistador, a pop-off Lu Feng, and a bounce off of Double Dragon Lords. That's 3 interruptions off of just Sun Mu and Cursed. This also helps you to mitigate a bit of interruptions, which is super cool. You can push through hand traps with just that 2-card combo alone. It's really, really strong. Even if they ashed your Cursed Eldland and they impermed your Sun Mu, you could still send Curse for cost and at least bare minimum get your Eldritch engine online through 2 hand traps. So I actually think it's one of the best combos in the deck. There's so many different combos, honestly. I also play 3 Lu Feng, so we're kind of getting into the like the extenders in the deeper portion of the deck. So I like Lu Feng at 3. It's actually a really good extender. So like Lu Feng is an extender. Let me go ahead and slide these guys over here. So those are like the starters right there. Those like 15. There's other ways you can actually start your engine without drawing the starters. You just need basically a wind. You need a wind Ancient Warrior, and you just want to make Double Dragon Lords. If you cannot, you can still set up interruptions, which is super unique with this deck, that it doesn't need its extra deck to actually put pressure. So you have Ingenious, Lu Feng. I actually like playing 3 Ingenious. I hate playing 2, drawing 1, and then only having 1 in deck. So I actually played 3. Worked out really good today. Hard drawing this card is actually really good. Especially this, with 3 visits, is actually not bad at all. Because you can just normal him, trigger 3 visits, add Lu Feng, summon it, and then make a Double Dragon Lords. You can use Double Dragon Lords to search a copy of Sun Mu. Double Dragon Lords send 3 for cost. You know, bounce something, summon Sun Mu off 3, and then just go off with your combo from there. And that's off just 2 cards. Which is really good. There's so much pressure. Especially going second, which is something that this deck does extremely, extremely well. It's super good. Like, the Ancient Warriors do it better than the Eldritch cards. Eldritch cards are just icing on the cake. The Ancient Warriors can just put so much pressure into a field. It's crazy. I actually, today, the PK Fire dude that I bricked against, we played for funsies, and he opened up into Appaloosa, Double Fogblade with Dragoon, and a Break Sword Engraved for the Fogblade to get a pop-off Rusty. And I broke through his whole board and still ended on a Lu Feng, a bounce off Double Dragon Lords, and my Eldritch engine online. With the Ancient Warrior cards, and a little bit of Eldritch. It was just crazy. Like, this deck's very powerful. So what you're doing is you're just going critical mass. Like, you summon your big guys, you activate their effects, you trigger your other little guys, their effects, to bounce monsters your opponent controls and negate monsters, and then you make a double Dragon Lords, and what happens is they try to Fog Blade you. You chain double Dragon Lords to either send his Self for cost or send something else. You bounce the Fog Blade. If they have an Effect Veiler or an Imperm, when you make this, you actually chain his effect, send his Self for cost, bounce something, and he still resolves to search because they missed their target. So there's so many cool ways that you can actually manipulate the game state, in a sense where, like, you can make your hand traps, the hand traps that your opponent have, very, very ineffective based on the, the quality of the hand traps. You can always make a board under Nibiru, so Nibiru does not really hurt this deck unless you get greedy. You can always play through at least 2 hand traps, consistently 2 hand traps minimum. You can play through 2. You're always going to have a follow-up, and you have a really, really aggressive engine that sets up insane turn 1 boards and also breaks boards with relative ease going second. So these two are like the bread and butter extenders. Ingenious also is a spell trap and a monster negate by himself. You can actually set that up on your first turn. You can go Bahamut Shark. Sometimes I like going Bahamut Shark instead of doing the convoluted board that gives you all the negates that he has, because I feel like it's less work for a higher payout, if that makes sense. With him, you just need so much to get each interaction off of him, but he is a walking spell trap and monster negate by itself, and an extender, which is really good. I played 1 copy of ELDLICH, so this is a starter and an extender, only going second. That's why I just play 1, because you definitely want to have access to him in your engine. So, like, same with Zhao Kong, same with Juan, same with Valiant, and also Ambitious Caude. So these are all one-ofs because, checking camera. Yeah, so, like, these are all one-ofs because I feel that they are situational, not in a bad sense where, like, these cards can break your hand so much, but I feel that because you can't just play them the moment you draw them sometimes, you don't really want to open them, and you still would rather have it and not need it than need it not have it, if that makes sense. That's why I really wanted these. This came up, this came up. This guy's crazy. This guy actually can kill Dragoon and summon the Dragoon back, and you get your own, Omni Negate, which is pretty cool. I mean, anything he kills comes back, and he actually is like a pseudo towers. He's actually very, very powerful. Super easy to summon, very big, very hard to get over, and it's just nasty. You can give him 3,500 attack off double Dragon Lords. You can give him so many different ways of protection. With Fearsome, he can be destroyed by battle, can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Just a very, very, very gross protection. Very powerful. So all these guys can give you like a cool toolbox, if that makes sense. There's situations that you can play out of because your Ancient Warrior cards have so much diversity in what they can do. Like, for example, Fearsome comes in, I think he actually puts in more work than any of these guys. He comes in clutch all the time. His effect in Damage Step, when you pair him with East by South Winds, it's actually very, very powerful. You can clear entire established boards. Like, this card's very underrated. It actually makes it to where your opponent cannot activate anything in response to your Ancient Warrior cards. And when they declare an attack, you literally just pop a card on the field. It doesn't even target. And it also triggers this guy, and this guy also triggers in Damage Step, which is super cool. So it happened today. I didn't realize that it wasn't a set revolt, but I popped a face down Imperm in Damage Step today, and I thought it was revolt, and I figured my opponent was holding it. And now, because he doesn't understand my deck, he didn't realize I could pop it in Damage Step. So I thought I was playing on revolt, and I thought maybe he's holding it till I threatened him, because I wasn't gonna like OTK him. And so I ended up popping it in Damage Step. I thought it was a revolt. If it was a revolt, I would have felt a lot better because it felt like I outplayed him, but it wasn't Imperm. But like, this guy is very, very strong, very clutch. He gets you out of so many sticky situations. Just a very, very powerful card. He also helps you to deal with cards like Dragoon and etc. Caude, same thing. This guy is just huge. He also helps to deal with cards like Dragoon. ELDLICH is a tour guide if your opponent has more monsters than you, and then he also allows you to draw a card when they declare an attack. He is sort of like a Sun Mu going second, but he's a huge bait. Like, that's why 3 visits is also very nice, because you can summon this guy, trigger 3 visits, search Sun Mu, activate his effect, send 3 visits for cost. They Ash all the time, or they Gamma all the time. They just always do it. Separate chain 3 visits engrave to special summon Sun Mu, and then you'll Sun Mu, and it's basically like nothing ever happened. So again, very, very powerful deck, very cool cards. Xiao Gong is also a very great one. You can set up with him, Sun Mu, your Rebellious, and also your double Dragon Lords, and that will give you 2 bounces, effect negation, and also a pop that doesn't target. So that's all off of just your Ancient Warrior cards alone. You can make Bahamut target this guy. You can, if you open Sun Mu with 3 visits, you can just summon Sun Mu, add something like Ingenious or Rebellious. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to make. And then send this for cost to search him. Separate chain, this summons him. There is your Bahamut shard. So let's say you drew Rebellious. What you'll do is summon Sun Mu. So it's Sun Mu 3 visits Rebellious. That's a 3-card combo. So what you do is you'll Sun Mu, 3 visits target Sun Mu to add Ingenious. Ingenious summons itself. And then you summon your Rebellious, obviously. Or you actually don't, because Ingenious is summon number 2. Then you go Sun Mu, send 3 visits for cost, add him, effect of 3, summon this, summon number 3, overlay this and Sun Mu into Shark, that's summon number 4, summon number 5, totally awesome. Then you take the Ingenious, you special summon out Lu Fang, take that and Ingenious, link those into a double Dragon Lords, use your double Dragon Lords, search whatever is necessary, and just continue your plays. It's really, really cool how this deck sets up. It's a very fun deck, it's very explosive, it's just really, really cool. I like it a lot. I also like using Ingenious minimum as a spell trap negate because that's super important. Stuff like Lightning Storm can be pretty threatening, and I feel that going first, if you can't get a Shark, Bahamut Shark, you want to have Ingenious on top of whatever board you make. This deck actually makes a lot of interruptions. It's really crazy. So that's like the bread and butter of the deck, so to speak. Like your most vital cards, how they interact with each other. Now, the remainder of the deck is the double Golden Lord. I think it's standard. I like playing 2 anytime I play an ELDLICH package. I just like 2. I hate drawing them and then these cards being really awkward. I play 3 Sanguine, 3 Conch, 3 Walkero. Other cool synergies is you can send these for cost off of Sun Mu, and even if Sun Mu gets negated, you still get value out of these carrying over for resources for your follow-up. And then this guy has to send specifically continuous spells or traps. Cool enough, these are actually continuous traps. So there's some really cool synergies that this deck has. I think it's actually really, really explosive. It's very awesome. It's very, very powerful. It really is. You guys just would have to see it to believe it, I guess. Like how this deck goes second. Even though it's not a going second deck, like just literally making double Dragon Lords after playing through 2 interruptions. And then when double Dragon Lord searches, you're literally triggering your Sun Mu to bounce one of your opponent's monsters just off of his search. And then if they Valor or Imperm, you just chain his effect, send his self for cost, bounce one of their cards, still get your search, separate chain Sun Mu activates because an Ancient Warrior activates its effect that's not him. He bounces. Whatever you searched off of double Dragon Lords, you just use that. It's just such a cool deck. Honestly, I like it a lot. Nobody really knew what my cards did. That was a huge thing. I feel like people just were holding their hand traps too long or they were using them too early. So that's the ELDLICH engine. I think if I had to pick which one I wanted to open, I'd always choose the Ancient Warriors. They are just the superior engine of the deck. The ELDLICH cards just give you a defensive backbone to pretty much just fall back on in case your main combo gets interrupted. Or also, if your Ancient Warrior combo is actually not enough, you know, if you pair a Conquistador / a Walkero with whatever your Ancient Warrior setup, normally that's enough to stop most decks. And then for hand traps, because I feel that I can't just play Dark Ruler Droplets and Talents, I felt that this was a deck that definitely would want to prevent like Herald boards specifically. Tri-Brigade boards are fairly easy to deal with, as well as normal boards like stuff that Virtual Worlds would make is kind of difficult to deal with. That's why I also like the hand traps for that matchup as well. But normal boards that just set up interruptions, you can break those with ease. But the boards that literally say you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, you're actually going to want Dark Ruler Droplets and hand traps just so you have a high chance of drawing, because I'm not playing a 40-card deck. And this deck's ceiling, I feel like it's high, but also you have to draw really crazy to be able to break those kind of boards. Like, to break those kind of boards, I would have to draw, like, I'd say Lu Feng plus a Tinky plus like a Sun Mu or a Lujuan and a 3 visits, and that's a very specific hand. If I drew that, yeah, I could break a lot of those boards, but the hand traps really help to simplify the game state, and because your deck is a 1-card combo, it's really just a 1-card combo deck. Your engines all get set off of 1 card. You have 2-card combos in 3, but your simple, like the simplicity of just having a Sun Mu is actually really, really powerful in already a simplified or mediocre game state where you can use your hand traps, time them correctly, which I was doing a lot, especially playing against decks like Drytron. You want to just hold your hand traps for what you feel is going to be the biggest choke point. You can't just use it on the first card you see. You can't just Ash Alphen Thubin just because you think it's just a good play to make. Like, you have to really be patient, make the right reads, read your opponent's body language, and sometimes they'll help you to telegraph their plays because people just make stuff so obvious these days. So I play those 9 hand traps. I play Droplets. I also play the Talents. Cards are just very, very handy in a deck like this. You need it. And the last card that's not a hand trap per se, but it's actually arguably the best going second card in my deck is East by South Wind. It literally says that my cards can't be negated, and then if I declare an attack, I pop all your stuff. You can send this for cost off Golden Lord and your Ancient Warrior cards, and it's just literally so free. By the time people even know what it does, they've already said okay to the effect. That's the funny thing about this. You can just say effect engraved. They're like okay, and then they say what does it do, and they don't realize like they should have asked what it did before they gave the okay. Card's insane because now they can't do anything. It's just very, very powerful. Deck's awesome, you guys. So many cool tricks I can show you. So extra deck, triple double Dragon Lords, hands down best card in the extra deck. Card literally just is so crazy. Like, in its own deck, like, Tri-Brigades cannot use this card the way it was intended, the way it's designed. Its most powerful effect is actually its effect when it searches. Its boost is a huge deal. Like, all of your 3K beaters are 35 beaters, your 28's 33. Your Sun Mu is a 2300 beater that can compulse whenever you want. You side in your Kaijus for the Drytron matchup. You Kaiju the Herald, you literally bounce it, Kaiju again, then you use Sun Mu to bounce it and Kaiju again. You can actually Kaiju 3 times because you get a bounce off this and you get a bounce off Sun Mu, and you can still Rebellious to pop. It's just insane. Like, this card is very nuts, and I've already explained it, but can't stress enough how much this card dodges Valor and Imperm and Fog Blades in the Phantom Knight matchup, because my locals, there's people that literally just play PK and that's all they play, don't play anything else. So yeah, card's just absolutely incredible. It's literally just the only card I care about. I doubled up on a few really good rank 4s because Sun Mu is a 1-card rank 4 by itself. So I'm playing double Shark, double Baguska, double Dweller, double Toad. I play 1 Emerald because card's at 1. It recycles my resources, puts back my Sun Mu's and my Ingeniuses. Whenever I'm running out, I just want to keep grinding. Tiger King, incredible card. I honestly want to play Tinsu's. I have another idea for a more pure list that's going to be like a combo-oriented build with Fire Fist cards. I really want to try it. I think this card's going to be really nice in that list. Wish I had better rank 5s. I just picked up a Pleiades today, but I didn't have it at the tournament, so I played Durandal. Card actually did put in a lot of work, and then obviously I do play Zeus. Zeus is just way too good in this deck. Highlight of the day for rank 4s was definitely Baguska. I made him in the extra monster zone against Drytrons, purposely playing around Cerberus, and what he'd do, he tried to Nightmare Cerberus the card anyways, not even realizing it was in the extra monster zone. So he burned multiple of his resources just to summon a Unicorn to shuffle this, and still get outed by my Eldritch cards that I was just holding, waiting for him to do the work. So I had the Conquistador, and I was thinking, well, the moment I see that he can summon a Unicorn, I'm just going to pop that monster. But then I thought more about it, and I was like, I'm just going to let him extend as far as he can. So he resolved multiple Drytrons, Gamma L10 into summon back. And then he had Cerberus plus the Gamma and the Alpha Thubin. And I was like, okay, well, I definitely, if I pop one of those, he'll still make Unicorns. So I'm just going to see how far he can go. I was thinking he's going to go all the way to Access Code. I'm going to let Access Code activate his effect. On res, after the attack game, pop it. And he didn't go that route. I actually ended up winning. So yeah, this card actually put in a lot of work. This card's very good against Drytron when you back it up with the defense. It's really good. And that is the Ancient Warrior list. If you guys want to see, I'll show you guys a really cool combo really fast. I'm going to show you guys the big one. So this is like the big combo. There's some simple ones, and then there's this one. This one's crazy. I will say that Sun Move plus Cursed is a simple one. I'll just start there and I'll just move my way up. So if you have Cursed, you'll just obviously pay 8. Grab yourself a Conquistador. Summon out your Sun Move. Sun Move, send the Cursed for cost. And add yourself a copy of Ingenious. Chainlink 1 Cursed, Chainlink 2 Ingenious. Summon him. Cursed is gonna dump a ELDLICH, which should just be a Walk Arrow. Then you take these two, make a double Dragon Lords, use his effect, add yourself a Lu Fang, summon it, in phase, Walk Arrow for Sanguine. You have Conquistador to pop with Sanguine to summon Golden Lord, Lu Fang pop, and a bounce. And with his bounce, you just send your Sanguine for cost. That's how you like pretty much circumvent him having a cost in the first place. So that's the 2-card combo. It's really easy. It's very simple. It's really fun also. But I'm gonna show you guys like the big one. So I think it's actually gonna be easier if I have my cards facing this way. Sorry if this bothers you guys, but here is how it would work. This is the big one. Obviously, this seems unrealistic because it's a 4-card combo, but I just want to show you guys like one of the best boards you can make. So we'll start off with the Curse. I always start with Curse. Add myself a Conch. Activate 3 visits, normal. Sun Mu, 3 visits triggers to add Ingenious. You will special Ingenious. Sun Mu is actually going to send out the, I'm thinking here, do I do the biggest one? Yeah, I'll do the biggest one. So you send 3 visits to add yourself a copy of Zhao. 3 visits will trigger to summon Zhao. Then you use Zhao to send Cursed for cost because it's a continuous spell or trap. And he's going to add either another 3 visits, or if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can grab yourself an East. But I normally go for another 3 visits. And then you still activate the 3 visits, or you just keep the 3 visits in your hand. It's totally up to you. Next up, you're going to go summon number 4 on your Totally Awesome. Oh yeah, don't forget Cursed. I'm sorry, I'm moving a little too fast. Cursed will send the Walk Arrow. Then you go Shark, Detach. The Shark's also going to give you a follow-up because Toad adds Sun Mu back from the grave. That's why I actually like going for Bahamut Shark Toad. It's actually a really strong play. Omni Negates ain't no joke when you have this kind of a field. Then you'll summon Rebellious because you literally control a Ancient Warrior. That's how the card works. It's actually super free. And you link these. You could actually even leave it like this just to have a spell negate, but I think double Dragon Lords just has to be made here to get your full value. So you go double Dragon Lord's effect to search. And from here, normally what I do is I go for one of my big guys, like Cal, Fearsome, because you're going to get your follow-up no matter what. You don't want to go Lu because you're actually using non-Ancient Warrior monsters, so you know, you just search whichever one of those you feel is more necessary. A lot of times I go for Fearsome. It's just super strong. But Cal's also good because you can summon him off of 3. But it's player preference, whatever you want, honestly. And then you're gonna Walk Arrow into Sanguine. You know, have your Conch set. So you're basically gonna have. This is actually where it gets pretty nuts too. This is an interaction that I forgot to mention. So what happens is you want to use Toad first because this looks like 3 interruptions. It's actually 4. So what happens, and you get a lot of follow-up. Like if you end up having to summon this guy before you get rid of 3 visits, it's very, very powerful. So you can get a lot more follow-up and a lot more value on your opponent's turn. So Toad negates, he adds Sun Mu. After he negates, then you go double Dragon Lords. Send 3 visits for cost, and 3 visits will summon the Sun Mu, and then your opponent will try to go into battle phase. You still have Sanguine to pop with the Conch, so you still have that. And if your opponent tries to do anything funny to your guys, you can immediately summon him. And it's really cool because like you'll actually be able to trigger some effects here. So it's super duper dope. Just how the deck works, and you'll still have your Conquistador. So you obviously get the pop. You know, you get the bounce. You get the bounce. You get the negate. You get this guy just to kill stuff. You know, it's just honestly it's crazy. This deck, I think this deck's crazy. And so like Sun Mu would have to be triggered off of his other effect by like killing something, not like his effect and damage step, because Sun Mu can't trigger and damage step. But I feel like you guys are getting what I'm trying to say here. Like you guys are getting my drift. Because if you added Cal, for example, you know, and you destroyed one of your opponent's cards, because how he works is if a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle card effect, you send one other card from your hand or field to the grave, special him. So if you're trying to trigger Sun Mu without relying on him, what you would do is you would Sanguine, you know, Conk, pop one of your opponent's cards. That will trigger Cal to come out. And since he activated his effect, because he's not an inherent summon, it's actually an effect, when he summons himself, Sun Mu will bounce. So you get a bounce here, negate there, and a pop. And this guy's huge, and he's also pretty much indestructible. And you have so much follow-up, and your board's full. So the deck's just really cool. I love it. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap the video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. If you want to support me, I do have a Patreon. I have a Discord. I have merchandise that you guys can get. There's so many ways that you can support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I ain't complaining if you don't, but I'm also happy if you do. Peace out, you guys.